Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm talking about the different ways that you can put up your berries, whether it be you're wild picking them or you're picking them from your own garden, a few different ways and the ways that you can use them. So let me start right off the bat with the freezing method because that is my personal favorite way. So right here you'll see I've got some blueberries frozen up and you'll see I've got some flannel wrapped around that. That's just to protect the jar from breaking. This is some currants from this year. What I do is I just fill it once I get the jar full, then I put a metal lid on, mark it, and then put it back in the freezer, and then I start a new jar. So I'm right in the middle of picking my currants and getting them frozen up. And so I'm going to get these back in the freezer because I don't want them to thaw out. But anyway, this is my favorite method. And then right here are some blackberries I'm thawing out from last year so I can make some jam. Even though I like to dehydrate most things now, even more so than canning, when it comes to my berries, I prefer freezing over all other methods, but it is not the only method. But let me go over real quick why. So I like having them frozen so they're ready to go when I want to make a pie, a fruit crisp, turnovers, or when it's getting to be that time of the year when we've got more berries coming in and it's time to start cleaning out the freezer. That is when I'll take the frozen ones out and start making jams and syrups out of them. So again, that's what's happening here. And so yes, those are the main ways I use the frozen ones, is for desserts, pies, crisps, turnovers, and then also for jams and syrup. Another option, which I've only done once, and that's right here. I still have, I don't know if I've ever used any of the ones I canned up in 2014, but you can can your berries. Now, the nice thing about canning is that you don't have to wait for them to thaw out in order to get your pies, crisps, and turnovers made. You can just dump your ingredients into your bowl or your pan and then do the preparations you need to do for the particular thing that you're making. And that can make it a lot easier, and also it's going to save you space in your freezer. But you can still use your canned ones to make syrups and jams out of as well if you want. And then the third method, of course, is going to be dehydrating. Now, when it comes to, even though I love to dehydrate as many things as possible, when it comes to my berries, this is my least favorite method. However, I am going to start putting up some of my berries in a dehydrated form because berries are the one fruit, because they're lower in sugar than a lot of your other fruits, that will powder up well for flavoring. And you can also throw into your cereals, into your granola bars, into your trail mix. You can use it in baked items, pancakes, cakes, and more. Or you can, again, powder them up to use as coloring and flavoring for frostings and so much more. You can mix them in with smoothies. In some ways, your dried berries can have a lot more uses than your canned or frozen. So as such, I'm going to be doing that more. Now, typically I will stock up on freeze-dried fruits, especially those that I don't grow, for that very purpose of being able to powder up and use as flavorings. But when it comes to snacking on, though freeze-dried fruits are tasty to snack on, I actually prefer dehydrated fruits over freeze-dried when it comes to just snacking on them. I like the chewy texture they tend to have. But berries do, because of their lower sugar content, tend to stay a little more crispy. Thus, it makes it easy to powder them up for flavoring. Now, right here I wanted to show you that we did have a raspberry that started growing on our side of the fence out back. I didn't know it was there until this year. And so I was actually able to get enough berries off of it that I'm going to make some raspberry turnovers for Patrick, because raspberry, when it comes to jam and turnovers, that's his favorite. So I was so excited to be able to get enough this morning to do that. And then yesterday on our other piece of property, Patrick picked me some wild blackberries. Now, we have berries that grow wild out there, like what's in here, the Himalayans, but the wild blackberries are ready first. And so he picked me, the thing about wild blackberries, these little tiny ones, just like your wild strawberries, they tend to have a lot more flavor punch to them. So these are really great. I don't know if I'm just going to snack on these or if I'm going to go ahead and make something out of these as well. So I just wanted to share that with you. berries are an easy thing to put up. Canning them is super easy. Just follow, for whatever the fruit is, make sure you follow your canning guide. You can just water bath can them, and that can be an easy way where you don't have to depend on your freezer. We have solar power. That's something where we can run our freezers off most of the year, so typically that's not going to be an issue for us. But if it ever is, if our freezers die, or for some reason we don't have solar power to keep our freezers going, I can always start pulling these things out and canning and dehydrating them as needed to just, you know, get everything out of the freezer. And then they're going to have a very, very long shelf life. And if you want more information on the shelf life of your home preserved foods, I did a video not too long ago. I'll link to in the description box down below. I will also add the video I have out on making fruit turnovers. In that video I was making blackberry turnovers, but I actually have another one that's even older on making raspberry turnovers. But in the blackberry one, I did link to a written recipe that I have. So I hope you appreciated this video. I just wanted to get this information out there real quick because it's just something I get questions on, and I just wanted to share that. And whatever method you use, it's just got to fit into your lifestyle, what you prefer, your taste, and what's easiest for you. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention as far as freezing goes, even though I throw everything into a bag and just freeze it, when it comes especially to raspberries and blackberries, if you're wanting to keep them loose and separate, the best way to do that is to lay them out on a cookie sheet, freeze them, then put them into your bags or your jars. Otherwise, as you can see here, this bag has a lot of liquid in it. This is what's going to happen with these types of berries, is when they freeze up, they're going to have a lot of liquid in there. And you're not going to be able to just get out individual berries. They're just going to end up in one big solid lump. But I never need to use them separately, have just a little bit. Because whenever I do this, I'm always using a whole jar at a time or a whole bag at a time, like I'm going to be doing here. So when it comes to things that I get a lot of, like grapes and blackberries, I do like using bags rather than using jars because the amount of space that I save, and usually I'm needing at least that much at a time. Sometimes, like when I'm making wine from our grapes, I need 3 1-gallon bags just to make 1 gallon of wine. And same thing goes with rhubarb or blackberries. So that's why I do prefer using the bags. It does save a little space and it's a little bit cheaper. I'll link to these particular bags in the description box down below as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, give you a few ideas, and please share any of your thoughts and ideas, how your favorite way is to put up berries and your favorite way to use them, so people can learn from you as well. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.